We tend to think that what we see and hear is just what there is. That is, after all, what the words seeing is believing mean. But this common sense view of the world isn't always true. If you like this kind of stuff, then make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. What do you see? Maybe a blue butterfly on a white background. Now take a look at this butterfly a little longer. Take, for example, the fact that we can look at a face and instantly recognize it as the face of someone we know. In this experiment, two researchers stood in front of a white wall while wearing black and white striped shirts. When the researchers switched places, the observers saw the researchers' shirts as being either white with black stripes or black with white stripes, depending on which shirt they looked at first. This is because the brain interprets information based on the context or frame of reference provided by the observer. Once they had established a frame of reference, everything else they saw fit into that frame. Well, ultimately, we can't be certain. All we can do is try to use reason and logic to evaluate the information our brains are presenting to us. This is despite the fact that our eyes only see a collection of light and dark patches and lines. This is why we often remember things differently than they actually happened. Well, we can try to cross-reference our perceptions with other sources of information. In this case, the photo is evidence of what the brain is perceiving, but it doesn't necessarily mean that what the brain is perceiving is real. After all, the photo could have been faked or misinterpreted. For example, if we see something and want to know if it's real, we can try to get more information about it from other sources. But even this isn't foolproof, as our perceptions can still be deceiving us. We remember them as our brains interpreted them at the time. Our brains fill in the rest of the information based on our prior experiences with that person's face. In other words, our brains construct our reality. Do you notice anything strange about it? The butterfly appears to be constantly changing colors and morphing into different shapes. But really, the image itself hasn't changed at all. It's just that your brain is interpreting the same information in slightly different ways each time, influenced by context and past experiences. We often experience the world not as it is, but as our brains tell us it is. Consider this recording of a duck quacking. To someone who has never heard a duck quack before, the sound may seem random and meaningless. But to someone familiar with the sound of a duck quack, it would be interpreted quite differently. They would probably be able to identify the sound as that of a duck. And if they were listening to a recording of several animal noises, and they heard this quack, they would likely be able to locate the source of the sound and identify the duck, even if it was hidden from sight. This is because their brains had already interpreted the vibrations hitting their eardrums as the sound of a duck quack, based on their prior experiences with the sound. So how do we know what our brains are telling us? In today's video, we'll explore some ways that what we see and hear can deceive us and discover how our brains construct our reality. There are tons of optical illusions out there that play on our perceptions in one way or another. Take, for example, this colorful illusion. Similarly, when we hear sounds, our brains interpret the vibrations hitting our eardrums as meaningful or meaningless, depending on our frame of reference. And we rely on our brains to interpret the world around us in this way, because it simply is impossible for us to process all of the information our senses pick up. This is also why we can look at the same object and see something completely different, depending on the context. Our brains even construct our memories based on our experiences and perceptions. So if our brains construct our reality, how do we know what our brains are telling us? Take, for example, this photo, which was taken in Antarctica and shows an apparent mirage of a ship on the horizon. So how do we know if what we're seeing is real? So the next time you see something that seems too good to be true, remember that it just might be. Thanks for watching.